Mhm.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Welcome to tonight's webinar. I hope everyone is excited and ready to go tonight. My name is Tamiko Allen Grant, and I'm going to be assisting Mr. Darius this evening. And I'm so excited to be here with you all to put these plans into effect, and we're going to have an awesome time this evening. So tonight is an opportunity for us to get together and prepare our mindset, and for some of us to transition our mindset. Tonight you'll be privy to transformational information that will prepare you for the groundwork as you step into your season. So we're going to go over some housekeeping and some navigation for tonight, just so you'll know what to expect and what's going to happen this evening. As you take in the information tonight, accept the possibilities and be open to understanding how you have more control over your response to what happens to you than the things that happen. Mr. Darius is committed to the personal and professional development of others through sharing creative strategies and helping others through service. His passion is to use his gifts in such a way so that people looking to improve and empower their development can attain their personal measure of success. He is sharing the information in this webinar tonight for free. But how can you place a dollar amount on something so critical as yourself, your development, your personal success? You can't. And that's exactly why you all have logged on this evening. Not only are you receiving great information this evening, you're going to receive tools to take with you as you continue your journey of success and professional development. You're going to have a free digital copy of the book, Next Level Motivation, Principles for Living Life to the Fullest. And here is a copy. Not only will you receive that, you have your goals and webinar worksheets where you'll be able to work through all of the things that we talk about tonight and use it as a reference guide for later. So often we're given tips or how-tos, but rarely are we given the tools to shape and understand how to create an environment designed for critical analysis, for a positive self-image. You've received the goals and success worksheets, which will provide you with an opportunity to work through those obstacles and create strategic plans for success. Throughout the webinar, Mr. Darius will be taking questions, so please feel free to type your questions into the chat feature, and we'll make sure that we address all of those. And during the last 15 minutes of tonight's webinar, Mr. Darius will be answering questions from our audience, and if he doesn't get to them all, he will address those questions through another medium. So I hope that you all are ready, because we are getting ready and we are prepared to have a successful evening. So now I just want to do a brief bio of Mr. Darius and kind of tell you who he is, what type of person he is, for those of you that may not know a lot about him. Some of you may know him just as a football star. Some of you may know him simply as a public speaker. I just want to give you a little bit of his background. So Donovin Darius grew up in Camden, New Jersey. He went on to attend Syracuse University, where he graduated and played college football. In the pursuit of a lifelong dream and an opportunity to positively change the lives of his family, he worked hard and was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the first round. After his impressive record-setting 10-year career in the NFL, he pursued his passion beyond the field. As he shared his principles and experiences he learned in the areas of leadership, peak performance, mindset development, overcoming adversity, and team building. As a professional life strategist, motivational speaker, high performance coach, and author, he loves organizations, teams, and individuals with the message inspire, energize them to unlock their potential and achieve their greatness. He's the founder and CEO of organizations. First, his sports Emmy award-winning Next Level Training. Then, host over 100 sports camps in the last 7 years. Secondly, in his nonprofit foundation that serves families by providing leadership and life skill programs. And lastly, he owns and operates his international personal and professional development organization, where he's given over 500 talks and directly worked with over 200 NFL players and executives. He aims to serve all with the love of Christ by making a positive impact in the lives he encounters. Great pleasure to introduce you tonight, Donovin Darius. Great pleasure to introduce you tonight.
Everybody, hey, I am so sorry for that background noise that you're hearing. So here's what I need. I need somebody who is technologically sound to tell me what I need to do to get that sound out of here. So before we get started, we have a lot to cover tonight, but I'm going to need, did it go away? Because again, what I don't want somebody to get frustrated. Noise just went away. See, there you go. When you pray, amazing things happen, baby. Amazing things happen. So I hope you wasn't one of those that just said, man, that noise is too loud. I'm out of here. So hopefully you stayed around. So what we did is I actually muted some of the control room so there wasn't no background from there. I want to thank Tamiko for doing a tremendous job. She works at FCSEJ at the students with the students, man. So she does a tremendous job. So I want to thank you for your support. As we're going, I'm going to kind of go through tonight. We're going to have an awesome time. And I just want to say thank you for everybody's coming as we continue to go from here. So here we go. Welcome everybody. My name is Donovin Darius. I am a husband, a proud, happy husband. I'm a father, raised 5 children. Okay, first round draft choice in the NFL, 10-year career. I get a chance to do some motivational speaking, life strategist, and coach. All that means is that I love issues. When problems come up, I like to solve them. And so by doing that, I like to be a coach. I am a coach. That means that I'm all about relationship. All right. And then the next one, I'm an author. I was fortunate to write a couple books last year before, and everybody will receive a copy. Everybody will receive a copy. And I'm a man who loves God, and I live from the overflow. I would not be here if it had not been for God. I would not be here if it had not been for Jesus Christ working in me and changing me from the inside out. And so I want to welcome everybody to the webinar tonight to 2019 Goals and Success webinar, where you get a chance to design the life that you desire. So here's what you can expect. You're going to expect tonight, we're going to go through a couple of points. Number one, we're going to talk about the different types of goals and the targets that you should set. We're going to talk about 7-step guide to defining and achieving your goals. We're going to talk about mastering the tips, the tricks, and the secrets that the pros use. We're going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're setting goals. We're going to overcome some of the mental barriers and roadblocks that continuously hold you back. We're going to set priorities while remaining flexible and adaptable when change does occur. And how many of you guys know that change always occurs? We're going to break goals into manageable steps. We're going to achieve both personal and professional goals. And we're going to provide tips for optimizing goals and reducing stress for more balance. Anybody need to reduce some stress right now? So those are some of the things that you're going to learn tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming. As you check in, this is very interactive. So if you have any questions, I want you to, in the chat, go ahead and type those questions. Ms. Tamiko is going to send those questions to me. At the end, I'm going to go through every single question. Here's my promise to you. And here's my promise. Tonight is all about you. Tonight is about giving you what you need at this moment for your life moving forward, for your family and everyone. And so again, this is a blessing. I'm blessed because as God given me the gift of teaching and encouraging, I love to teach, I love to encourage, and then here we are all together. And so we get a chance to pass it forward. All right. So in this webinar, you're going to learn how to design the life you desire. You're going to find everything you need to define success in your terms and establish your goals in the following areas of your life. You see, when I look at this webinar, when I look at our life, it basically comes down to 4 areas. 4 areas that we should set goals for, and we should look to be successful in. The first area is faith and spirituality. How do we grow in our faith? You see, the Bible says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That means that if you have faith, that means you're hoping for something that's not there yet, and the evidence of it is not seen yet. And so that means in order for us to walk by faith, we got to speak things, talk about things that aren't there yet, and we have no evidence of it yet. But how many of you guys know that what we see has been made by the unseen? So as we grow in our faith, in our spirituality, that is an inside out job. We grow from the inside out. Nothing happens to us. It happens within us. And so we want to set goals for that. We want to consider what a success looks like when we are mastering that from the inside out. Then we got family and relationships. Whether you're married, whether you have children, or even just your external family, brothers, sisters, mothers, anyone, family and relationships. How do we set goals for them? Nothing in life happens by accident. Okay? Nothing in life significant happens by accident. It happens because you're intentional with it. And then how about finance and business? Hey, they always say, hey, money answers a lot of things. So you want to set up some goals so that way you can understand, how do I grow in my finances? How do I grow my business? How do I start a new business? How do I grow my business 10x, 20x? What are the keys, the principles? What are the principles, the laws that govern the success of my business? And then the last one is fitness and health. You get all the other 3 together and you're not taking care of this body, which is a temple, none of those other 3 can last long. So again, what are some fitness and health goals that you have? And we're going to talk about that. And that's what you're going to learn tonight in this webinar. So as we go forward, why should you set goals? I'm going to drive this in you so much to understand why you should set goals, how important they are, because again, faith comes by hearing and constantly hearing and hearing and hearing and hearing. Okay. And so I'm going to continuously repeat these things because you have to understand it. Listen, I didn't get good in any technique in the NFL by just trying it one time. I had to master it. I had to spend time doing it. And so do you understand that you're 24 times more likely to produce the life and the goals that you want if you become clear on what you want and you write it down, AKA write goals down. The average people don't do it. The average person spends more time planning a vacation than they do planning their own lives. You don't want to be average in life, but you will be average if you don't set goals, if you're not giving yourself a direction. Listen, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I have to take a flight to Vegas to go to a speaking event. The first thing that pilot's going to do is he or she's going to put in the coordinates. They're going to put in the coordinates to where the destination is. If they didn't put the coordinates in, then how do I know when I ever get there? And so by putting the coordinates in is basically him setting the goal, setting the direction so we can ultimately have success. So here we go. Let's break it down. There's 2 different types of goals that you can set for your life. One is the momentum building goals. These are goals that you know that you can achieve, and they're fairly early in the year and consistently throughout the year so that you can keep building on them. You know, we just passed into the new year, and a lot of people said New Year's resolutions or New Year's results. And for a lot of people, they got 3 weeks strong, and then all of a sudden that cake just started looking real good. Or they got 3 weeks strong, and all of a sudden the disciplines that they started out, the momentum, the adrenaline just started to fade away. But momentum building goals are things that you can build upon. These are things that you can build. You can get small wins, 1 week at a time, 1 week, 1 month at a time, and you build upon it. You build upon it. But the other type of goals you want to write down are stretch goals. These are those life-altering and game-changing goals. These are those goals where you say, you know what, I can't see how it's going to happen, but there's something on the inside that's telling me that I need to be there, or I need to do this, or I'm going to get there. These are stretch goals. These are stretch goals, and later in the webinar, we're going to talk about one of the things within you that's going to help you reach those stretch goals. We're also going to learn about something inside of you that's going to also help you, build upon those momentum building goals. So as we go, remember, you guys, if you got any questions, type them down. If you have any comments, is this sound right to anybody so far? I mean, is this making sense to everybody? If it is, go ahead and type in a yes right now. Let me know where you're at. Also, if you have not already, type in your first name and where you're watching this from, because I want to know we're watching it from all over the place. So thank you guys for that. As we set goals, here's one of the things that I learned, that complexity is the enemy of execution. If your goals are set up in a way that is so complex, that even even Houdini can't get out of it and figure it out, or even a Rubik's Cube champ can't figure it out, then you're not going to execute it. And so again, this doesn't need to be elaborate. Your goals do not need to be elaborate. Elite performers don't require a complex plan, but they do become clear and focused on what they're achieving. You see, in the 10 years that I had, listen, I wrote down the goals for the year, but then I wrote them down for the week. How many tackles did I want to have? How many interceptions? What was the ratio of plays that I wanted to be a factor in? So if there was 65 plays, then I wanted to at least have a 25% factor in those plays by either getting a tackle, an assist, being around the ball. And so it doesn't have to be complex. It just has to be something that you're going to be able to execute. So here's 10 reasons why goals are worth having in our life and business. Remember, what did I tell you? Repetition, repetition, repetition. We have to convince you that goals are worth setting. You have to convince yourself that goals are worth setting. Anybody agree with me? That you have to do this over and over and over. You have to be reminded of something. You have to practice it over and over. So here's number one. Goals help you be who you want to be. There's people right now, they don't know the real you. But by you writing your goals down, you're becoming the real you. You're becoming the person that God intended you to be. God says in Genesis, he says, I made you in my image and after my likeness. Guess what? You're made in the image of God. That means you're made in his great idea. You're God's biggest idea. He made you so wonderfully, and you're made in his likeness. That means we function very much like God. And so again, goals help you be who you want to be. How about in business? How about in your family? How about as a father, a mother, a son, an athlete, a businessman? Goals help stretch your comfort zone. There's a saying I always say, man, you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because there's no challenge, there's no change without the challenge. I never got muscles strengthening my muscles without weight. I never got faster without pulling a sled or running up hills. I needed the challenge. You need the challenge if you want to get to the next level. So goals stretch your comfort zone. Number 3, goals boost your self-esteem and your confidence. When you accomplish your goals, hey, let me type in real quick. What's the last goal you accomplished that built your self-esteem and confidence? Type it in the comment section. What is the last goal you've accomplished that built your self-esteem and your confidence level? Because that's what goals do. They're check marks. They're check marks. Your vision is the ultimate goal. The vision is where you're going to be, but along the line, goals are the checkpoints to get you there. Number 4, goals help you. They help your life. They help live your life they help give your life give a stronger purpose. Sorry for the error there, but it gives your life a stronger purpose. When you have goals, you have a place you're going. You have reason to get up in the morning. You have reason to go to work. You have reason to talk to people. You have reason to work on yourself. You have reason to take this seminar. And so I want you to congratulate yourself, you know what I'm saying, by putting one of those things, man, congratulate yourself. Because listen, you're here. You have a strong purpose. Guess what? The only reason why time is here, you have time and eternity. The only reason for time is for you to fulfill your purpose. And so if there's still time, if there's still breath in your body, guess what? You still have purpose. There's still purposes that you haven't fulfilled yet, but you're discovering them and you're rediscovering them and you're walking it out. Number 5, goals help you rely on yourself. There's the pastor says, faith without works is dead. Hey, guess what? I can believe, have confidence, all I want in God's desire for me. But if I don't do the work, faith without works is dead. How many of you guys know that you got to do the work? If you believe that, I want you to type in, hey, I got to do my work. I got to do my work. Goals help you rely on yourself and do your part. Number 6, goals encourage you to trust your decision and your choices. Inside of each one of us has an internal GPS. We have an internal GPS, but most times we're not listening to that GPS. We're listening to other people's opinion of us. We're letting other people's opinion of us be our reality. But goals encourage you to trust your decisions and your choices because you're the one that's going to the next level. I put it like this: in life, there are no imitations. There are no duplications. There's only imitations. There's only people trying to be like other people. Think about it. Think about the shoes you wear, Nike. Well, guess what? That's a brand. How about your shoe? When is your shoe coming out? Okay, you got bags, Chanel, Coach, Louis Vuitton. That's a brand. Okay, when are you coming out with a brand? Because again, in life, there are no imitations. There are no duplicates. They're just imitations. Number 7, goals enable you to turn the impossible into the possible. You know the very word impossible? Let's break it down. It means I'm possible. The word impossible means I'm possible. You are possible. It is that you are possible to achieve your goals, to achieve your dreams, and to reach the ultimate level of success. Number 8, goals prove that you can make a difference. Yes, you can make a difference. Number 9, goals improve your mindset. And number 10, goals lead to empowering emotions and accomplishments. Listen, man, if you look at your life, if you look at the reflection mirror of your life, okay, you'll see how many times you've overcame things. And with that, may that empower you with emotion that I can do this. And no weapon formed against me shall prosper. In all things, I'm more than a conqueror. And this is for me right now. And so it continues to help you empower your emotions and your accomplishment. Here's 5 things that you must do when you set your goals. When you're setting them, you must be specific. You must be specific. Okay? Your mind cannot go to work on something processing generic. You can't just talk about vanilla things. The way your mind is set up, that it must produce something specific. It got to be detailed. It got to be precisely things that you put into it. Like you can't say, I just want to lose weight, or I just want to be more healthy. I just want my business to increase and get better. No, it got to be an exact weight, or it got to be an exact body fat. It got to be, hey, my cholesterol to come to this level, or I want to earn this amount of money in this year. It has to be specific. Number 2, you must have someone that you're accountable to. You see, it could be your spouse, it could be your child, it could be a business partner, it could be a mentor. You got to share this information with someone to help you stay accountable. I used to show one of my teammates my goals for that week in the game. And I would say, hey man, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. Because I want you to see it. So as I'm on the field, when I'm tired, you can hold me accountable to say, hey man, what's that goal you set? And you can get it. And can you accomplish it that way? I often say this in marriage, okay, in relationships. You know how we all have expectations? But here's one of the things that I say, here's some wisdom on expectations. Don't you give the other person expectations. One of the things that I do in my relationship that works very well for us is that I write down 20 things that my wife can expect out of me. And then she writes down things I can expect out of her. And so now we become co-partners and we're helping each other continue to live out the expectations that we set for ourselves. Somebody is holding us accountable. And so if you understand how important accountability is, I want you to go ahead and type in, I must have an accountability partner. Number 3, you must read and visualize your goals daily. You must see them. You must hear them so that you can feel them. You know, we all have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind. That subconscious mind is that feeling, emotional mind. See, if I asked you, what's one of the most important dates of your life back in when you were in your 20s? And then I say, what was one of the most important dates in your 30s? What was one of the most important dates in your teens? I guarantee you that each one of those moments was filled with an opportunity where it was high emotions and it meant a lot to you. And so in order for us to remember things, we have to get it into our subconscious mind, because you can bring those things up, whether good or bad, because of the way your mind is made. So you must read and visualize them daily. You got to get it in you. It's like reprogramming your mind. I want you to write down, I must reprogram my mind. And when you reprogram your mind, you reprogram it with all positive stuff, what you can be, what you can do, what you're going to do. Number 4, you must have a date and a deadline. Must have a date and a deadline. You know, they say a dream without a deadline is just like a wish trying to hope itself to come to pass. You got to have a date or a deadline. If you don't, it's just going to come out sometime, whenever, whatever, and most times never. So you got to have a date and you got to have a deadline. And number 5, you must expect them to happen. In life, you don't get so much sometimes what you believe. You get in life what you expect. You get in life what you expect. When you came to this webinar tonight, you had expectations. Somebody might have said, man, I've been to these webinars before, man. What he going to tell me? He played football. What is he going to tell me? You had a certain level of expectation. And there was somebody else who came to this webinar tonight and said, man, I'm coming because this is for me. And there's something that's going to be said tonight that's going to help me take my life to the next level. And so based off of your expectation, it's somebody that set a goal and say, man, I'm not going to make this. This is going to be a bad day. What do you say when you first get out of the bed in the morning? Well, I'll tell you what I say. By the grace of God, I say, listen, today's going to be a great day. People are going to be lining up to do good things for me. Man, miracles are going to happen all around me today. Today, I'm going to step into new territory that I've never stepped in before. That's expectation. So you must expect them to happen. And so as we transition, I'm going to talk a little bit about success now. And I'll call it the STAR goals. And I want to thank Les Brown and his team because, when I got a chance to speak up there at one of his conferences, I got a chance to meet some of his team and they shared some stuff with me. And I said, you know what, this is so powerful. And I want it to be so powerful to the point that you understand exactly what this means. So that way, when you're setting your goals, you understand I'm setting STAR goals for success. And so they basically stand for, the S stands for strongly felt and connected. Your goals must be strongly felt and connected. Your goals must have the T, which is the theater of the mind. Your mind is one of the greatest creations that you have. But most people, they don't utilize them. They sit there, they watch TV, they listen to other people, they watch, they allow other people to tell them what they can do, what they can't do. And basically at the end of the day, they don't go into their mindset to understand. Well, I'm going to talk about that in this webinar. We're going to open up your mind. We're going to allow you to see possibilities that you never saw possible before, because the very word impossible is, I want you to type in, I'm possible. Type that in to the comment section. And the letter A, absolutely necessary. These STAR goals has to be absolutely necessary. It can't be something that you want. It can be something that you want, something that you truly, truly desire, but it has to be absolutely necessary. A lot of times, there was a saying, somebody say, you know what, we don't get in life what we get because we set our goals too high. Okay, we fail in life because we set our goals too low, because they're not absolutely necessary. They're not tied to our core values. They're not tied to who we are. They're not tied to the inside man coming, being perfected and being developed from the inside out. They're tied to what's on the outside and what somebody can see. But that's why we're doing this webinar, because I believe that those on this webinar, they want a new life in 2019. Do you know that the number 9 means new beginnings? Number 9 means new beginnings. So I want you to type in 2019 is my new beginning. 9 means new beginning. And the letter R, ridiculously hard to achieve. If you want to set these STAR goals, they got to be ridiculously hard to achieve. Guess what? There was a time when man could not go to the moon. There was a time when man could not make it to any of these stars. They couldn't get out of space. And so if you looked at it, there was a time when that was ridiculously hard to achieve. What goal do you have that's ridiculously hard to achieve? Because if you remember right now, that man's been to the moon several times. Man has been to the moon several times. What once was ridiculously hard to achieve now is very possible, because somebody set goals. They said they were strongly felt and connected. I got to get it to the moon. The theater of mind, how can we make it? Absolutely necessary, because we got to find out what's going on up there, and ridiculously hard to achieve. And so let's break that down. When we talk about strongly felt and connected, there's different ways when we set goals that we can set out to make sure our goals are strongly felt and connected. Number 1 is intrinsically rewarding. We always have different motivations, things that motivate us, and we're going to talk about some of that as you're setting something to make it strongly felt and connected. So there's what we call intrinsic goals. Intrinsic goals are basically those goals that are on the inside of us, those goals that concern you for truly, that you truly care about. They're goals that automatically make you feel a connection. These are things that you're deeply passionate about. These are things that you don't care about the price, because the cost and the obstacles, they don't even get in your way. When I think about Steve Jobs, okay, and the things that he had to overcome, he routinely referred to Apple's products in glowing terms. This is what he said: "This is an awesome computer. This is the coolest thing we've ever done with video." He said, "This is an incredible way to have fun." You see, when he had an intrinsic goal, it had everything to do with what he was able to develop, what he was able to deliver, something that he really, really cared about. What is that? What is that for your family? What is that for you? What is that? What is that for the legacy beyond? What is that for your life? If somebody was to say, "Here lies a person who," you fill in the blank. You fill in the blank. Put in the comment section. What do you want them to say about you? Here lies a person. Here lived a person who what? The second thing, it had to be socially rewarding. Socially rewarding, strongly felt and connected. When you think about something that's socially rewarding, there got to be a sense of doing something greater than just yourself. Something that you can help attain for someone else. You see, if you struggle to lose weight and you never succeed, try to reframe that ambition in terms of setting a good example for someone you love. Maybe at a moment's time, you don't have that intrinsically rewarding and goal motivation. But how about making it socially rewarding? How about saying, "You know what? I want to set a good example for somebody else. I want to be the work ethic that someone else has so that when they see me, it inspires them. I want to eat healthy so that people can see that, hey, when I eat healthy, this happens for them." Such as your child. Your child, understand, parents, our children are watching us. They're watching and they're listening. They're watching what we say. They're listening to what we say. And so we have to be examples for them. Don't tell me, when I heard a quote or just a comment about a father when he told his son, he said, "Son, when you grow older and as you grow older, I want you to watch where you go." He said, "I want to watch where you go." And he said, "Well, Dad, well, I think you need to watch where you go because I'm following your footsteps." Do you understand? When you set goals, they have to be socially rewarding, socially motivating. It has to be something you're making an input, an impact. And number three, financially rewarding. In some cases, intrinsic and social rewards and goals, that's just not enough. It's just not motivating enough. But sometimes when you think about extrinsic motivators, such as a financial reward, financial independence, I want to get to a place where I can get what I want and what I need. You see, for me, growing up in Camden, New Jersey, which was considered the number 3 most dangerous city in the world, where 88% of the people live below the poverty line, had it not been for the grace of God and the work ethic and the people around, I wouldn't have got out of there. And so my dream at 9 years old was I wanted to grow up and I wanted to be able to help my mom and help my family and create experiences for other people. And I was able to accomplish that by the grace of God. But not beyond just the grace of God, but also the work that I put in. So we were partners in crime. Okay. And the crime was overcoming the things that came against me because there were a lot of factors that came against. And so financially rewarding, think about it. Companies often offer extrinsic motivators like bonuses to urge employees to achieve their professional goals. But I want you to go beyond that. I want you to be like a Bill Gates, to say, you know what? I want to, when I make money, I want to make more money so I can give more money away. Do you know how rewarding that is? To say, I live a life of now giving away. And so when you think about how much money you want to have, hey, let's look at it and think about it. I want to make money so that I can be able to get to the point where I can give it away, because it is better to give than it is to receive. And so here's an exercise I want you to think about. Intrinsically rewarding. Why is the goal important to you? What will it do for you? When you're thinking about that goal, here's an exercise you want to do. What will you gain by that goal? These are questions for you to think about. Why is it important to you? What will it do for you? And what will you gain? When you think about socially rewarding goals and motivation, you want to think, what will this goal do for others and the environment? What will be the social benefit of meeting or exceeding this goal? So about 8 years ago, I started my foundation, Donovin Darius Foundation. And the whole purpose was, I said, I wanted to be able to be a bridge to families and organizations to come together and get their life changed so that way they can live their life to the fullness. So we put on these family expos where we brought about 50 to 60 organizations together. okay, where they can work together, serve together. Last year we had 450 families. We did a fatherhood celebration, and we got a chance to get those families connected to the organizations so that they can get connected. We did a big celebration. And so again, using our gifts and our talents to help somebody else. Well, I can hear somebody say, well, Donovan, I don't have that big of a stage. Guess what? You have one person. You know, somebody said to me, asked me a question before. They said, you know, Donovan, who is the most important person in the world? And I thought about it. Who is the most important person in the world? Okay, who's the most important person right now on this earth right now? Some people would say my mother, my father. Some would say my children. But let me put a thought into your mind. Let the most important person in the world be the person who's in front of you. Let it be the person that you're talking to. Let it be the person that has your ear at the moment so that you can be present. And so when you think about intrinsically socially rewarding goals, what can you do for other people? I want you to put in right now, what is something that intrinsically that you want to do, a goal that you want to have that intrinsically motivates you? And then I want you to type in, what's a socially rewarding goal that you have, that you want to do? How do you want to help your community? How do you want to help your generation? I want you to type that in. Type that into the chat section. And the last one, financially rewarding. Is there a monetary incentive to this goal? Will this goal produce more opportunities? Will it produce financial independence for your future dependents? How about a trust account for your children? What's a financial rewarding goal that you set, that you want to set? And remember, I don't want you to limit it. I want you to think as big as you can, because it's when you think big, it gives us something to keep reaching for. So remember, what is an intrinsic goal? What is a social goal? What is a financial goal that you have, and how will it impact other people? So the T stood for the theater of the mind. The theater of the mind. In my book, Next Level Motivation, that everybody should have who participated in this webinar, you'll see that there's a chapter in there that talks about the power is in you. And in there, we talk about the six internal intellectual faculties. These are the things that you were gifted with. These are the things that you were created with. These are the things that if you don't use them like a muscle, okay, sometimes you can lose them. But guess who has them? Everybody does. So we're going to start with number one. Number one is reasoning skill, the reasoning. Everybody has reasoning, the reasoning skill. That is the process of forming your conclusions, the judgments or inferences from facts or premises. Basically, what that looks like to you is that it doesn't matter what they say about the economy. It doesn't matter what they say about your culture, your race. It doesn't matter what they say about your lineage. It doesn't matter what they say about your history. It doesn't matter what they say, what information comes to you. You have the ability to form your own conclusion, your own judgment, and your own inferences from the facts or the premises that's there. How many of you guys using your reasoning skills? How many of you guys are you not using your reasoning skills? How many people are watching CNN or Fox News to get their reasoning on how they view life? Or how many people are understanding that, you know what, in this life, I get a chance to I get to come to my own conclusion. Number two is perception. Perception is apprehending by means of the senses of the mind, cognition, and understanding. That basically means that two people can look at the same thing and two people can come away with two different perceptions of it. You know, there's a word in the Japanese language, the word crisis in America. The word crisis in Japanese means opportunity. There's an opportunity with every crisis. It's an opportunity. What is your perception? How are you perceiving it? Is things working out? Is things happening to you, or is things happening for you? Is things happening to you, or are they happening for you? Are the troubles that's happening in your life, are they coming to tear you down and destroy you, or are they coming to make you stronger? Napoleon Hill says a quote. He says, every adversity carries with it a seed of equal or greater opportunity of success. Every adversity, difficulty, setback carries with it a seed of equal or greater opportunity for success. It comes down to your perception. It comes down to your perception. And number three, memory. The mental capacity or faculty of retaining and reviving facts, events, impressions, recalling and recognizing previous experiences. You see, setting goals and being successful, understanding this mastery course is all about understanding that you were born with this memory. You can look back over your life and think of and remember how you overcame something. I want you to type in right now, what's something that you don't mind sharing that you overcame in your life, that you can remember that you overcame in your life. I want you to encourage somebody by typing that in there right now. Because it's when we draw upon our memory, when we use our memory, when we draw upon it, it helps us set the goals for the future. Because when we stretch our goals, when we have them ridiculously achievable, we can say, wait a minute, I overcame that. I can overcome this. And so again, our memory is here to serve us, but our memory is just like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. And so we must utilize it. Number 4, theater of the mind. We talk about using our mind to create the life you desire. Is understanding that you have intuition. It's that quality or ability of having such direct perception or insight. You know who adapts, who has this more than any other person? Women. You have this intuitive ability more than anybody. You ever have a child that's not near you, but something in your gut just tell you there's something wrong with my baby. I need to call somebody. I need to do something. You have that intuition on the inside. So when you apply the intuition in your business, it'll help you decide who should I hire, who I shouldn't hire. Without prejudice, it'll tell you why should I is something not right about this. To trust that intuition, it's your internal GPS. There's a passage in the Bible when God says he's a still small voice. Most people looking for direction by this big loud horn. But understanding that still small voice, you got to quiet the noise around you so you can utilize your intuition. Number 5, your imagination, the theater of your mind. Remember, everyone has this. Everyone has this. But to the degree you use it is totally up to you. You have an imagination, which is the action or process of forming such images or concepts, the ability to face and resolve difficulties, resourcefulness. You see, you understand this, man. Your imagination, there are no limits to it. The only limit, when you were a child, do you remember how you imagined so many things? You lived in a fairy tale land. And then as you got older, people started saying, man, stop daydreaming. Come to reality. Man, that's crazy. But you were born with an imagination for a reason. What did I tell you earlier? You're God's big idea. He made you through his imagination. Everything was made through the imagination. It is the image. What is the image that you have? What is the image you have for your life, for your health, for your business, for your strength? What is the image you have for your purpose? Because without using your imagination, you're going to set yourself up just to achieve what other people have achieved. You're going to look around and you're going to see that one of the biggest issues in life is conformity. Conformity. Type that in so someone can know. One of the biggest issues in life is conformity. That is us looking around and seeing what somebody else did and declaring that that's what we can do. But when you live from your imagination, nothing is impossible to you because everything is possible. Everything. There's a passage that I love. It says exceedingly, abundantly, above everything you can dare ask or imagine is what God, who lives on the inside of you, is able and willing to do. What did he say? Exceedingly, abundantly, and more than I can ever dare to ask, think, or imagine is what God is able to do and willing to do for you. But how many people are being limited in their imagination? And then the last one, number 6, is your will. This is one of your 6 intellectual faculty. The will is also a power. It is that which exerts conscious control over a person's behavior. It's the power of choice. It is what intentionally directs the mind towards a thought of action. Listen, nobody can contain your will. Nobody can contain your will. My question to you is your will for sale? Is your will for sale? Can somebody give you enough money for you to stop pushing yourself in areas in which you know that you should push yourself through? Can somebody give you enough money to stop trying to develop from the inside out? Can somebody pay you off to make sure they quiet you down from talking about the things that just are not right? Can somebody buy you off to the point that you accept mediocrity instead of saying, wait a minute, I'm God's masterpiece. I'm his masterpiece. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. There's nothing that can stop me. There's no one that can stop me but me. And so when you understand the power of your will, you'll understand that your will is a power and nothing can stop you. Human beings were made with that, but we have to exercise that. Okay? So here's an exercise. An exercise where I want you to write down a visual image of your ultimate goal. Jot down every detail of it. How does it look? How does it feel? How does it sound? How does it smell? What does it taste like? Write down a visual image of it, of your ultimate goal. Don't worry about how you're going to achieve it. Don't let the word how come into the equation. But I want you to write it down, a visual image of your ultimate goal. Now, the next one we're talking about is with the STAR goal to help you reach the success you want, is it has to be absolutely necessary. What does this quote say? If it's important to you, you will find your way. If it's not, you're going to find an excuse. You see, your goals must be something like almost like life and death issues to you. Rumor has it that Steve Jobs perfected and he finalized the iPad while he was recovering from liver transplant surgery. You see, setting distant goals you don't plan to deal with until much later is easy. You can declare you'll do anything in the future if it doesn't cost you anything. While you can repeat that process over and over, you must think about what's absolutely necessary as a father, as a mother, as a person. What's absolutely necessary? I gotta eat right. I gotta make better decisions. I gotta do this. I gotta overcome my fears. I gotta walk through this. I gotta walk in faith. I gotta walk in faith. I gotta trust God. I can't just trust just what I know. I gotta do this. It's absolutely necessary. And so when you think about it, we're reminded that people spend way too much time trying to figure out how to trick themselves into implementing mediocre goals. But I want you to set goals that are absolutely necessary. Goals that that you thought yesterday was impossible, but through the power is today. So you got to feel a sense of urgency about your goals or they'll never happen. Unfortunately, there's more people that are setting goals that they can achieve than setting goals that they need to believe. And so as you move forward, just understanding the STAR goals, the A is it got to be absolutely necessary. Here's an exercise. Ask yourself these questions. Why is it absolutely necessary for you to achieve this? Why is it? What could be some of the things that could stop you from attaining this goal? You see, before I played any NFL game, I had to study my opponent. I had to study my opponent. Not only my opponent, I had to study the offensive coordinator because I knew at the end of the day, he was studying me. And so I had to look at myself and I had to find out what was my strengths and what was my areas of improvement. Because how could I have success if I don't know the information? If I don't know what can stop me? How can I prepare for the enemy, okay, or the adversity if I never identified it? And so what could be some of the things that could stop you from attaining your goal? And the last one, what will it cost you if you don't achieve it? What will it cost you if you don't start eating healthy? What would it cost you if you're not diligent in making your calls? What would it cost you if you don't do the training and do the role playing that you need in business? What would it cost you if you become so busy with business and you forget your family? What would it cost you if you're always on the road and you don't have any time for your children? What would it cost you if you keep making excuses instead of making opportunities for you to move forward? What would it cost you? Okay? Because it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you something. And the R, ridiculously hard to achieve. If you want to complete the STAR goals, you want to understand, remember, go ahead and write your questions down at the end. I will answer your questions at the end. So if you have any questions, I will address those at the end. Okay. All right. The star goal must be ridiculously hard to achieve. It's not until you are sold out, committed, and completely obsessed with your purpose that you will ever maximize your potential. You see, it has to be something tough. It has to be something that keeps you inspired. It has to be something that pushes you beyond yourself, something that allows you to be more than you can imagine at this moment. You see, these star goals approach an idea to help you realize and fulfill your potential. They're no longer about you being the same. They're no longer about you doing the same old thing. Think about this. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. Today is the present. It's a gift from God for you to open it up and enjoy it. And so when you want to enjoy it, you can do it by setting star goals. Does this make sense, anybody? Who's with me tonight? Who's getting encouraged by this message so far? Type down, I want you to type down if you're getting encouraged, but then also I want you to talk, what's the one takeaway you got right now so far before we move forward? What's the one thing that's speaking to you right now? I want you to type that down, type that in. Here's an exercise for your ridiculously hard to achieve goals. Ask yourself, what's my new ridiculously hard to achieve goal? What is my new ridiculously hard to achieve goal? Now, here's what I want to do. I'm going to allow you to hold yourself, somebody else to hold you accountable. If you know what that new ridiculously hard to achieve goal is, I want you to put it in the chat section. I want you to put yourself on record so we can hold you accountable. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have somebody else personally hold you accountable, but I want you to be held accountable tonight. What is your new ridiculous? I didn't say the old thing. I didn't say what you did, what you dabbered in, but what is the new ridiculous hard to achieve goal? And so did that make sense, everybody? So right now, what you should be typing in is that if the first half has already impacted you so far, and what did you think about those star goals? What stood out to you about those star goals? What is something new that was revealed to you? How were you enlightened by those star goals? Because again, at the end of the day, we have to keep moving forward. And why not reach for the stars? Why not reach for the stars? And so as we move forward, I want to give a shout out. I want to thank everybody again at the end. We're going to do questions at the end. I want to thank you guys. Everybody will receive, that's on this webinar, will receive a copy of my Next Level Motivational book, which you'll be able to enjoy. At the end of each chapter, there are 7 to about 10 questions for you to dive a little deeper, it's like an onion, man. We're like onions. There's layers upon layers upon layers until you get to the core. And sometimes in life, we need adversity to pull those things away so we get to the core. All right. And so here we go. As we go into the second half here, here's 7 steps to achieving your success and goals. 7 steps to achieving your success and goals. Okay. Here's step number 1. You have to decide exactly what you want, and you got to write it down. This activity alone moves you to the top 3% of adults, and can change your life by writing it down. But you got to decide what exactly you want and write it down. And then the last thing is only focus on what you want. There's too many people focusing on what they don't want. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to eat this. What do you want? What do you want? I want to be successful in this area. I want to be the best husband that I can be. I want to be intimate with my wife, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. You know, I want to break generational curses. I want to start a new trend. I want to be the example at the job where people look at my work ethic and my production and set me as a standard because I'm living from the inside out. But I'm only focusing on what I do want and not what I don't want. Somebody type that in. Only focus on what you do want. Only focus on what you do want. Step number 2, set a deadline for your goals. You have to set sub deadlines for if necessary. Okay, so you can almost, in this situation, you can have your vision, all right? Your vision is out there. That's where you're going. That's the end goal. It's like those match cars, those little matchbox cars. Have you ever seen one? All right, you said it has a spring in the wheel. You roll that car back, and then you let it go. And as you let it go, that car then begins to roll forward. That's how we're made. There is the beginning and there's the end. The very fact that you started already means that you've already finished. But in order to get there, there may be some bumps along the road. There may be some different exits along the road. I often think about life as a highway. The end goal is where you want to go, but then there's these exits. But if you get off an exit, some people may say because of their perception, oh man, you know what I'm saying? I can't make it to my destination. Or you can say through your perception, this is just another way to get there. And I want to see something different. I'm going to feel something different. I'm going to have something different because I'm moving towards my goal. So again, set a deadline for your goal. Be specific about the timelines you want to intend to that you intend to accomplish every day, every week, every month, every year. It doesn't hurt you to write these things down, but it does take work. You know, as I said earlier, I used to write down my goals almost every day. I used to write them down. I used to keep revisiting them. Because if you write down your goals at nighttime, here's what it do. If you write them down in the morning and at nighttime, here's what happens. In the morning, you're reminded of where you're going. At the end of the night, you're reminded that no matter what happened, you can sleep knowing where you're still going. Versus at nighttime, thinking about all the things that didn't go right. So write your goals in the morning and write them at the end. Okay. The more specific you are about your deadlines and your dates, the more you will accomplish. And the sooner you can expect it. Why? Because you set a deadline to it. You set a deadline and you're holding yourself accountable. Number 3, step 3, determine the obstacles that you will have to overcome to achieve your goal. We talked about that earlier. If I don't understand that, hey, I'm not as fast enough as this guy, and if I don't understand that, then when I get into the game, I may line up in a way that may allow him to run right by me. If I don't know that procrastination is a part of my makeup, then guess what? I'll wind up putting things off and not getting the results I want. If I don't know that I'm an emotional eater, then that means that when things happen, when somebody make me upset, then I'm going to start going into all the cakes and the cookies and all that stuff, and then I'm going to feel bad about myself. If I don't know that if I watch different things or listen to certain things, after a while, then all of a sudden I'm going to start humming, I'm going to start thinking it. It's going to get deep into my subconscious, and at the wrong time, it's going to come up. If I don't know that, then how can I overcome that? And so you have to understand, what are the roadblocks that determine the speed at which you can achieve your goal? What are the roadblocks? Okay, what is a roadblock that you have right now? I want you to type in, what is a perceived roadblock that you think you have in your life right now? Type that in. Now, I didn't say it was a roadblock. I said perceived roadblock. I want you to put that in there right now. Ask yourself, why aren't you at your goal already? Of all the obstacles, what is the largest single obstacle? That's where you begin. You begin with the largest single obstacle, because you can only tackle one at a time. But once you tackle it, guess what? You move on to the next one, then the next one, then the next one. So you could be a person that says, man, you know what? I just kind of go by what I see. And it's hard for me to kind of walk in faith. It's hard for me to speak things that are not as if they were. It's hard for me to understand that the way that I can live is by speaking things. By speaking. I'm a walking spirit. And I get to speak things and I get to bring them to pass because I'm speaking. But you might be someone and say, man, you know what? I got to see them in order for me to believe them. Well, guess what? If that's one of the obstacles you have, then you got to address that. You got to practice that. And so is the same thing with life. So is the same thing, okay, with anybody and everybody. So that's step number 3. Step number 4, determine the additional knowledge, the skills and abilities you will need to reach your goals. Okay? Determine the additional knowledge, skills, and abilities you will need to reach your goal. Remember, to achieve something you've never achieved, you must become someone you've never been before. Remember, you're constantly being transitioned. One thing about change is continual. Change is permanent. Everything always changes. Change is continual. You'll never be the same age as you are at this moment right now. You'll never be the same person that you were just a second ago, because we're always changing. And so you must develop the knowledge and skills that you don't have. And so, yes, it doesn't matter how old you are. The whole retirement thing, I'm growing up in life to retire, that was made by people across the water in another country, in like Great Britain somewhere. They did that for a political thing. And then they brought it over, and then people adopted it over here. You're not supposed to retire. Sure, you can slow down in areas. You can have different priorities at different stages in your life. But you know what retirement basically means? Or at least what it means to me? It means that I'm going to get tired over and over and over and over and over again. I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of doing that. I'm tired of doing that. Retire. I'm tired of doing this. But in life, man, every new goal requires that you become a new person in some way. How are you different today than you were yesterday? How are you different last week than you are this week than you were last week? By developing additional knowledge and skills in order to both achieve it and to keep it. Listen, it ain't easy. It ain't all about just changing one time. It's not about just doing things one time. If I'm on the football field, I don't want somebody to make one tackle. I want you to be a consistent tackler. People always say, man, what happened to those Jaguars or whatever team? Listen, type your team in. Type your team in, your NFL team that you went for this year, if you like NFL. People, for those Jaguar fans, people say, what happened to him? Here's what happened. When you trust talent over technique, you'll lose every time. Okay. You'll be consistently inconsistent. Okay. And when you trust talent over technique, okay, you'll be consistently inconsistent. Somebody type that in. Okay. When you trust talent over technique, you'll be consistently inconsistent. Basically, what that means is that if you just trust your talents and you don't put in the work, the techniques that it takes, the training that it takes, the practice that it takes, then you're going to be consistently inconsistent. Okay. And so in order for you to do that, you got to understand, I have to keep learning. I have to keep getting better. I have to keep growing. I can't stop. This pendulum of life, it either goes forward, it goes backward. There is no such thing as it staying the same. And so step 4, you have to determine what is the additional knowledge and skills and abilities that you need. Now, I can't answer this for you, but you got to answer it for yourself. And you got to be honest with yourself. Step 5, determine the people, the groups, and the organization whose help you will require to achieve your goal. No man is an island. We can't do it by ourselves. Early in the Bible, it says, man, it's not good for man to be alone. It's not good for man to be alone because we can't do it by ourselves. If you want to achieve anything in life, if you want to be successful in life, I guarantee you the most successful people in life never did it alone. And then ultimately think about this. Before you take your last breath in life and transition to eternity, I never heard anybody on their deathbed said, man, I wish I had one more deal. Man, I wish I sold one more house. I wish I sold one more car. They're not saying that. What they are saying is, man, I wish I would have spent more time with the people that I love. I wish I would have forgave somebody. I wish I would have gave more away. I wish I would have been kinder. I wish I would have loved. I wish I would have got rid of racism. I wish I would have got rid of prejudiceness. I wish I would have got over anger. I wish I would have let things go. And so understanding that, listen, when it's time for us to retire, when it's time for us to transition, we got to look at our lives and we got to understand, what do I need to do to accomplish what I need to be? And so determine the people, the groups, the organizations. It may be a church. It may be a support group. It may be people in your job. It may be another group of friends. You may look around at your group and say, man, hey, I need to get another group of friends. If you're the smartest cat in your group, you need another group because you can only go as high as the smartest person. Okay. But when you walk by faith and not by sight, guess what? You can get all the wisdom you want. But for those that understand, even practically, even at your job or in their home or whatever, you want to be the best husband, you get around husbands or you get some books on how to be a better husband. You want to be a mother, better wife, you do the same thing. Better children, better athlete, better student, it doesn't matter. Better salesman, it doesn't matter. You get the books, you find the people who's doing it successfully. And that's who you get around. And so understanding big goals require the active cooperation of a lot of people. What will you have to do to solicit their support? What's in it for them? Remember, it's all about relationships. I don't never want to come to a relationship to somebody and it's all about me. I have to think about what do they need and how can I fulfill their needs before I even ask something. Because it's when I fulfill their needs or when they perceive that I'm fulfilling their needs, it's when I take the time to think about them. Then they'll want to help me. And so again, understand that it's all about relationships. Somebody type that in. It's all about relationships. Life is all about relationships. And that relationship has to do with more than just one person. Don't be afraid to ask for help, even if it's in the form of advice and introductions from people you know. One person, one contact can make all the difference between success and failure. Just one person. They say 6 degrees of separation. Okay, there's somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. But if you don't ever open up your mouth to ask, if you don't ever ask for advice, do you know this? That people love to help people? There's people that love to help people. but they love to help people, but they can't help somebody if they never ask. And so when we talked about what's stopping you, maybe you're stopping yourself because you're not asking questions. Maybe you're answering the question for someone even before they even answer it themselves. And so I say to you today, stop defeating yourself. Stop going backwards. Stop living in negative town. Live in positive town and watch what happens. And so again, don't be afraid to ask for help in the form of advice. Number 6, make a plan to achieve your goal. You got to have a plan. Make a list of the obstacles you have to overcome. Here we are back at those obstacles again, because in life you will have to overcome obstacles and obstacles. You will have to overcome things. And so you need to make a list of that. What are the things that tempt me the most? Do you know the word temptation is not a negative word? The word temptation just means test for weakness. You and I are only as strong as to the level of what we fall for. You know what I'm saying? We are only as strong to the level in which we fall for. But once we identify, then we can put together a plan to overcome it. And so we have to understand that. So next one, make a list of additional knowledge and skills that you have to require. What are the additional things that you need to have to acquire or to learn? Okay, remember, we're talking about success. We're talking about goal setting. We're talking about developing the plan. Remember what I said in the beginning? 3% of the people of the world do this, of adults do this. Why don't you be a 3% today? Why don't you start being 3% today because you're following along? Make a list of the people whose help you need. Organize that list into a plan and based on priority and sequence. Listen, man, there's nothing like a plan. It's nothing like marking things off. And I'm not just talking about a to-do list that gets longer and longer and longer, but I'm talking about a becoming list, a list of the person that you're becoming, because you have specifically identified what you need to do, who you need to talk to help you. If you're struggling at your job, who do I need to talk to? If you're struggling in your faith, who do I need to talk to? If you're struggling in your marriage, who do I need to talk to? If you're struggling in your friendship, who do I need to talk to? Make a list of the people. Organize that list into a plan. Take them out to lunch. Take them out to coffee. Write down questions. I always say that one of the most powerful things in life are questions, because they get a chance to pull out of people what's inside of them that you need. See, I can have all the answers in the world. If you never ask me a question, then it does no good. And so don't be afraid to ask people to help. And number 7, take action immediately on your plan. Once you begin, don't stop. Do something every day that moves you toward the achievement of your major goal. Become intensely action-oriented. Develop a bias for action and a sense of urgency. Be a moving target. You know, one of the things that I see in life, man, that holds us back is fear. False evidence of appearing real. But do you understand the opponent that fear can never defeat? The opponent that fear can never defeat is action. When you take action, fear can never defeat you. I want you to type that in. The number one conqueror of fear is action. The number one conqueror of fear is action. When you take action, you're moving beyond your fear every single time. And so again, develop the momentum principle of success. That means you keep moving. Keep moving. It doesn't matter. This is not a sprint. The race ain't given to the swift or the strong, but the ones who endure to the end. Life is a marathon. Life is a consistent, continuum of you making one step at a time. And that's really what life is. That's what success is. Celebritism, all that is somebody being celebrated for what they did. And so we don't have to seek celebritism. All we have to do is just keep doing what we're doing. Just moving forward. Is life tough at times? Yes, it is. But the Lord told us, may say, in this world, you're going to face tribulation, but be a good cheer, I've overcome it. And so as we walk through life, we're all overcomers. We're all more than conquerors. We're all created in God's image. We're all made in his likeness. We all have the destiny and the predestination to become what God has for us. He said, the plans I got for you are not to harm you, but to give you a future and a great end. And so when we think about it, when you keep moving forward, when you don't give up, when you never stop pushing forward, when you never stop speaking life over your life. They say life and death is in the power of your tongue, and they equate your tongue as like a rudder on a ship. They say the tongue is so small, but it controls this big old body where it goes. The rudder on the ship is so small compared to the big cruise ship, but it controls that big ship. So what are you speaking over your life? Where are you going in your life? Speak possibilities. Speak things that are not as if they were. Speak those things and never, ever, ever stop. And so here's our recap. We talked about STAR goals. They got to be things that are strongly felt and connected. They have to be, you got to use the theater of your mind. Understand that you have 6 intellectual faculties, and if you don't use them, you lose them, or they don't get as strong as they could be. These are things that you can use. These are things that you're accountable for. These are things that you can't, that nobody's going to do for you. And then we talk about absolutely necessary. What is absolutely necessary that you do? What's absolutely necessary, not by convenience, but necessary that you do? And what is ridiculously hard to achieve? What is ridiculously hard to achieve? Set those goals. Here's a reminder, stick around and listen, you guys. I got some gifts for you guys at the end of this. Also, at the end of this, you guys are going to receive an email, a thank you email. And in that email is going to be a link for you to complete a survey, for you to talk about your experiences tonight, to talk about how it impacted you. Again, I take it very serious because I want to prepare something for you. I open up my mouth and I say, God, you feel it. And I want you, and by you writing it down, by writing things down, it basically solidifies what it did for you tonight. Okay? So we talked about that. We also talked about the 7 steps to creating the life you desire. We talked about number 1, decide what you really want. Number 2, determine the obstacles you need to overcome. We talked about setting a deadline. We talked about determining additional knowledge and skills. We talked about determining the people that you need. We talked about making a plan to achieve those things. And we talked about taking massive action and never, ever stopping. If this webinar has been good to you, I want you to type, something in there. You can type whatever you want in there. But if this webinar has been good to you. And so listen, I want to tell you guys a little bit about the things that you're getting before we start our question and answer session. We have 3 minutes before question and answers come forth. Ms. Tamika is going to go ahead and send those questions to me as well, and we'll get into that. But here's what you're going to receive, you guys. Everybody who signed up tonight is going to receive a copy, electronic copy you can take on your phone, you can put in your iBooks, you can take it on your computers, your tablets, and everything. Everybody is going to receive this. Next Level Motivation, Principles for Living Life to the Fullest. Okay, in this book, it's going to talk about knowing your value, the power of self-love, understanding the seasons of your life. It's going to talk about ways to maximize your potential, how to discover and rediscover your purpose. It's going to talk about developing mental resilience and toughness. And how do you make an impact? How do you leave a legacy? And then the last one is going to talk about 20 ways to live your life to the fullness. As a bonus, in my YouTube channel, I have a Next Level Motivation video journey where I've created 27 videos already as I read through the book and I went a little deeper. So you can also see those on my YouTube channel. Okay, it was the Next Level Motivation book journey. You can actually watch those, listen to those as well. I know a lot of people like digital work books, but they also like ebooks, but they also like hard copy books. And so if you want to get a hard copy book, you already got the free copy. You can go to Amazon. You can get one shipped right to you. Okay, you can get one right shipped to you. If you want a hard copy book, it's nothing like being able to write the answers down. It's nothing like being able to have something hard in your hand. I recorded the audio book for it. That'll be coming out pretty soon. So you can actually have something that you're listening to as well. And hey, we're celebrating. Here's the book for 2019. I want to thank God for this. I'll give all praise and honor to my Lord Jesus Christ for everything he gives, because he constantly works in me and through me to do his good pleasure. And so here was something that that was written and just written, and we're waiting for it to be released. Now it's Living All Pro, the book of inspirations. Get the spark you need for everyday life. So included in that book are tools for developing your all-pro mindset, leadership through inspiration and service, how to overcome and redefine adversity, creating your success and environment to win, how to increase your self-value and results, learn how to view life circumstances and situations with purpose, growing your personal spiritual faith, and learn strategies for maximizing your potential. In there, we have a quote, and then we have lines for you to fill in. What does it mean to you? Okay, how do you define it? And what does it actually mean to you? All right. Here's a couple of things that's free to you guys as well on SoundCloud. Okay. It's like a podcast for your listening pleasures. I have 3 different playlists right now, over 200 hours of free, motivating, inspiring, encouraging discussions over the last year, or the last couple of years that I recorded. You can listen to them on SoundCloud, totally free. 3 different ones, one on professional development, another one on personal development, and another one on faith-based development, okay, as well. So again, definitely check it out. It's totally free on SoundCloud. Okay, we talked about YouTube channels. Okay, I have 3 different YouTube channels right now. One is for speaking, Donovin Darius. That's where a lot of the videos and stuff that we host, the morning motivations and all that, that's where you can see those. Then I have the next level training. That's the athletic training, where it's more than about sports. It's for character and athletic development. I do sports camps for them. And then it's the foundation, the Donovin Darius Foundation, where we serve the hearts, the souls, and the minds of the Northeast families in Florida. We're a Florida community where we do life camps. We do family celebration expos, and we also do mentorship as well for boys and girls. So that's there for you. Here's how you guys can get in touch. Don't forget, if anybody's on social media, go ahead and post something on there, and don't forget to take your webinar. Don't forget to take your feedback form and fill that out as well. You'll get that in the email that'll be sent out to you after we finish this. And so right now, you guys, I'm going to pull up my questions. I'm gonna pull up the questions right now, see what we have here, and kind of go from there. I want to thank you guys, everybody, for being a part of this. Thank you again for Netta Smith saying that the camps are awesome. So I'm gonna wait for Ms. Tamiko to send me those questions, and as those questions start to come in, we're gonna go from there. Listen, if you really enjoyed this, man, if you really enjoyed it, if you got something out, if you got what you need, okay, let us know that you got exactly what you need, so that way we can make sure. Now, we're going to send out replays of this as well for your listening pleasure as well. And then that way you can go ahead and forward to someone else. And so here's some questions. Questions from tonight as of 8:10. All right. Thank you guys for sending these questions here. All right, here's a question. How do you deal with self-doubt? By Jeffrey Grissom. Well, here's the thing. We're always going to have doubt. Doubt is always going to come to us, but here's what you do. You speak to doubt. You speak to it, and you say, I'm free from doubt. You see, what is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So you are speaking to something that you're hoping that goes away, even though you don't see it go away yet. So you're basically saying, listen, I'm free from doubt. I'm free from doubt. I only walk in confidence. I only walk in assurity. Doubt no longer has an occupation in my home. So you speak to that thing and you take action and you move forward. It's nothing like putting out action to overcome the doubt. Will you be sending out a replay of tonight's session? Yes, I will be sending out a replay of tonight's session as well. How do you encourage a group of sports kids struggling with their competition to believe in themselves, push harder to get better, and push when they're down in the game? Well, I think it goes back to setting a goal amongst themselves. Just what we did tonight. They have to do it amongst themselves. Why are they playing? Who are they playing for? I remember in high school, my Aunt Rosa, man, she was passing away. She was in the hospital. She was basically in hospice. And I said, you know what, this next game, I'm dedicating it to my Aunt Rosa. And so when I did that, I wound up having 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I had one of the best games of my career. Why? Because I dedicated that game to something bigger than myself. But if I'm just dedicating saying, yeah, man, I'm gonna get on blue chip All-American, man, they're gonna have me on top rivals. If it's just about myself, then a lot of times we max out. But when it's about other people, when it's for other people and it's helping other people, amazing things can happen. And so again, when they're down, I would say, listen, find out, hey, ask them, why do you play again? Who are you playing for? Who are you playing for? And then allow them to answer those questions and go from there. Miss Regina Hunt commented and said, how do I make difference in their life? And what will be said about me? She felt that. So basically, how do I make a difference in their life? And what will be said about me? So that's more of a comment. Yeah, that's more of a comment. Shauna Williams commented, I live a life giving away. you may want to address this. So when I say about like giving life, living a life giving away, what I mean is that everybody has tools, everybody has talents, everybody, remember, everybody has something that they can give. You can give a compliment away. You can give a smile away. You can give hope away. You can give a word of encouragement away. It doesn't have to be just financial. Okay. You can give a card away. You can write cards to people. Okay. You can give, I mean, you can give so much away. Live a life of giving away. Give your education away. Give your experience away. That's why in one of the chapters, I think chapter 8 in the book, Next Level Motivation, I talk about that. I believe that everybody should write their own personal memoir. Everybody should write how they overcame. Everybody should have that, because it's when you do that, other people and then other people that come after you can learn about how you overcame. And so again, that's how you do that. Hey, here we are. Yes, we're here. It's live. So again, I hope that it answered your question on there. Well, let's get another question here. Let's get another question here. Patricia asked, how do you get out of self-doubt when you want to do things that are keep you from getting what you want? At the end of the day, it goes back to what I said. We have to increase in faith. That means we have to speak not just what we're going through, not just what the situation is. We have to speak what it's going to be. We have to speak the life into it. Listen, I am an overcomer. I'm more than conqueror. Man, I walk free of doubt. I'm walking free of confusion, free of lies, free of, free of torment. I'm walking in, I have more peace now than I ever had in my life. I have more finances now than I ever had. My relationships are healthy. My relationships are whole. See, that's how God does it. The one that made you, created you. He said he made the world by his spoken word. And guess what? He's giving you that power to work in likeness. Guess what he says? The Bible says, he said, I'm the high priest of your confession. What are you confessing over your life? I'm dealing with doubt. I'm dealing with doubt. I'm dealing with doubt. I'm dealing with doubt. You're confessing that over and over. Now, am I saying that we don't have doubt? Sure we do, especially for the unknown. But when we trust the word of God, when we trust what God said over our life, then we say, you know what? My thoughts don't matter. My thoughts are not the pinnacle of the ideal. It's what the one who created all things said. What did he say? He says, when I'm weak, say I'm strong. So who does that? A person that says, you know what? God says, when he watches over his word to perform it. So when you say what God says, then he watches over his word to perform it. Guess who all of a sudden becomes strong? You do. So there you go. Thank you, Patricia. Patricia, I hope that helps out there as well. Let me see one more question. Let me see. When you give too much of yourself, how do you pull back? All right. And so again, we have to have balance in our lives. Okay, because sometimes good things are not God things. All right. Sometimes, and I realized that personally. I mean, there was times that you burn candles on two ends, on both ends. And you have to understand that that's why sometimes you have to get away. You can't just pour out. You got to be rebuilt it back up. I do a lot of pouring out, and I realized in my life that I got to get built back up. And saying I had to discover the ways that I got built back up. And for some of the ways are different for everybody, but for me, I had to get in God's word and just allow his word to just fill me back up. Okay, I had to just kind of be still, not moving and running around. Okay, all over the place. Understanding that, guess what? This is my prayer for 2019 and beyond. And it says this: Lord, lead me by your spirit instead of driven by ambition. Lead me by your spirit instead of being driven by ambition. Somebody type that in. What that means to me is lead me by word, the prompting, what you want me to do. You know what I'm saying? What you want me to do. Hey, go over here, do this, do this. Okay? Lead me by your spirit. His spirit is peace. His spirit is love. His spirit is kindness. His spirit is patience. Lead me by your spirit, not driving by ambition. Oh man, I'm going to break the bank today. It's okay to say that, but what is it for? What is it for ultimately? Is it just so that now your name, you can have more things? Or you know what? I'm breaking the bank because you know what? I want to be able to help more people. I want to, I'm going to take care of my responsibilities, but I want to help more people. And so again, as you decide to do that, as you understand that, you know what? Hey, There's nothing wrong with having money. The Bible talks more about money than a lot of other things because God wants to see your stewardship over money, you know? And the way I look at it like this, here's the saying I have in my life. I love people and I use money and not the other way around. I love people. Type that. I love people and I use money and not the other way around. Your love for people. You can only serve one, two, only can serve one master. Your love for people. And what do you need? How can I help you? How can I serve you? What can I give to you? Well, who can I be for you? At the end of the day, that's why we do this webinar. That's what this is about. And so as you go forth, you guys listen, we're now 4 minutes left here on our, to 8:30 here. I want to thank you guys. The thank you letters have already went out. I want to thank you in advance. Please go ahead and fill out those feedback forms. Okay, as well. Make sure you got your book. If you already subscribed, you should have had it already. Fill out the feedback forms as well. I want to hear from you as well. Definitely when we go ahead and put this up, it's public now. Go ahead and share it. Share with other people. That's what we need. You need more of God's message getting out. You need more positivity getting out. Yeah, do we live in a world that's troubled? We do. Well, guess what? It's not going to be that way forever. When Jesus comes back, he said, listen, I'll make all things new. But while we're here, we have to encourage one another. We have to build up one another. We have to share with one another. We have to be with one another. And so listen, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's webinar. Listen, we're on time. You know what I'm saying? It's 8:27. Miss Tamika, I'm going to bring you on, Miss Tamika, so you can, and I'll kind of close it out. But I want you to share a little bit about tonight, to some other housekeeping items, and as well as you can feel free to share from your heart what you feel led to share. Miss Tamika, you're on.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me, and I apologize about any earlier comments or that you couldn't hear earlier. But I just want to thank Mr. Darius for this opportunity as well. And as always, he shares such a great deal of passion. And I've grown a lot just during this session and just being able to understand how I can continue to grow. And I hope that you all have learned a great deal from this as well. As he said, I hope that you all were using your goal setting mastery success in webinar sheets, because as we were going through, I was using my action plan as well. It's a great reference. Continue to use that as you continue to make your plan. One of the things that stood out most to me about tonight was he said, write your goals down in the morning and at night. And this is a great tool to use that. Additionally, be sure to, if you want that hard copy of the book, please go on and bless someone with that message as well. Donovan, thank you so much for the opportunity, and thanks for doing what you do. And I'm looking forward to the next session. Donovan, thank you so much for the opportunity, and thanks for doing what you do. And I'm looking forward to the next session.
Thank you as well, Tamika. Thank you for everything. I want to thank all the viewers that watched tonight. Again, everyone has signed up will receive the copy as well as the replay as well. I wanted to remind you guys too, the action plans that you received. I didn't go in order of those action plans on purpose because I wanted to create almost 2 lessons in one. And that is for you to be present and receive what you need during that time. And then within the action plan, for you to take time, okay, for you to take time and to fill in the rest. Okay, so it's an opportunity that beyond tonight for you to take some time and go ahead and fill in the rest as it spoke to you. And so again, writing these things out, fleshing it out is one of the biggest things that you can do for this year moving forward. And so listen, I want to thank everybody. It is 8:29. I want to thank you for everything. God bless you all. May I leave everyone with a prayer tonight as we leave the webinar for your 2019 and beyond. Heavenly Father, we come before you in the name of Jesus. We thank you, oh God, that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. We thank you, Lord, that you said no weapon formed against us shall prosper, and all things we're more than conquerors. Thank you, Lord, that you said that you have plans for our life. They're plans to succeed. They're plans to give us a future and not to harm us, but have a great end. And so today, Lord God, we receive by faith, oh God, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We receive by faith, oh God, all the healing, the deliverance, the peace, the passion, the kindness, the love that we need as we walk out in this world we live in. We thank you, Lord God, that you said, oh God, that you'll provide all that we need, that if we just ask, we shall receive. Seek, we shall find. Knock, it shall be open unto us. And as Jesus prayed, Lord, in his prayer, let your kingdom come on this earth. That means let the dominion of the King come here on this earth in us and through us. Let people see us and say, wow, there's something different about them. And so, Lord, I thank you for 2019, a year of new beginnings. May it be a new beginning in someone's life tonight. May they be encouraged to understand, and Lord, that you're with them. You live on the inside. The very breath they have is because of you. And may we use that breath to glorify you in all we do. We thank you. We bless you in Jesus' name. Amen. Listen, you guys, thank you so much. This is going to be the end of the broadcast right now. I look forward to our next one. Thank you, Mr. Miko, for the great job. Thank you, everybody, for the viewing. You guys be blessed. Have a great night.